So hello guys, welcome back to channel Get to Byte once again. This is the continuation video of our I2C peripheral in STM32 microcontrollers. In the last video, we get to know some of this is basic overview of I2C peripheral in microcontroller STM32, its port pins and its basic functions and block diagram. Now in this video, we are configure our microcontroller in master mode, and then we will program the pins. We will program develop the device driver for I2C peripheral. Okay, so now let's start with the video. Okay, so now the I2C first we have to do is the in the I2C master mode there are certain required sequences that we have to follow for configuring in master mode. At first we have to configure the peripheral clock frequencies, clock configurations for our I2C peripheral in STM32 microcontrollers. Okay, so these that we have to do like by input clock frequency, clock control register, rise time registers that I will just come across just after just a minutes after, and then program the I2C CR1 register to enable the peripheral and set the start bit in the I2C CR1 register to start generate a start condition. Okay, so now let's come into that only. Okay, now see, now there are number of so first start, let's just first start by initializing a master, and we will initialize the master by first configuring the I2C clock configurations, because in master mode the first thing that we have to do is first we have to configure the clock parameters so that it can generate the clock via SCL line. Okay, so now first thing is that I2C pin configuration that I have told you in the last video, that as we are using PB10 and 11, so we will configure both of these as alternate function open drain, and we will correspondingly also enable the RCC peripheral for APB2 and APB1, at which corresponding GPIO and I2C ports are situated. Okay, so now in the clock configuration, first thing is program the peripheral input clock in I2C CR2 register. Now if you go to the I2C CR2 register, you will see that it has a bits from 0 to 5 as FREQ. This is the frequency bits that we have to program correspondingly to the input frequency that we are going to give. So now as we have configured, I am going to configure my microcontroller in 32 megahertz. So we have to set the CFREQ, these 5 bits, as our I2C FREQ 50 from in binary or in hexadecimal format, the I2C CR2, so according to the input frequency of our core clock. Now I am running my core clock at 32 megahertz, so 32 in hexadecimal is 0x20. Okay, so I have directly configured my I2C CR2 in 0x20 mode. That means my input clock frequency to my I2C peripheral will be 32 megahertz. Then the next step is configure the clock control registers. Now what is the clock control register? The clock control register is the CCR register, which is this one. Let me just show you. It is little after all these registers. Yeah, I2C clock control registers, and this controls that by what mode we want to configure our microcontroller, in what duty cycle if we are configuring it in fast mode, and the CCR finally configures the clock control, the frequency at which you are going to generate the I2C clock. Okay, so this is like we are going to the standard mode, and so in standard mode there is no role of duty cycle. Now comes the role of the CCR. Now what is this clock control register or CCR? This configures what will be the frequency at which our SCL will be running in I2C, and that I have configured as 50 kilohertz. So by the calculation of which are given here, like by understanding this thing, you will be able to understand we are calculating it. So here the thing is that our FR, like first we have to as we have configured our FREQ as 0x20. Okay, FREQ, and our okay, 0x20, and then by calculating, by understanding this formula and this thing, you will be able to get that our I2C CCR is 0x140, which will generate the clock frequency at 50 kilohertz. And then another thing that we have to configure is the trise configure the rise time register, the I2C underscore CR rise. Now its concept is very interesting. The I2C CR2 register we have to set, okay, because this configures the rise time of our SCL low and high signals. So now in standard mode, the rise time is our maximum 100,000 nanoseconds. So we have to configure T rise bits in such a way that time taken for SCL line to go from high to low and from low to high doesn't exceed from 1000 nanoseconds, and that by the calculation we will get like it will be like calculation will be in such a way that 1000 nanoseconds standard mode upon the time period at which our clock frequency of a core is running, and our core is running as 32 megahertz, and that is input to my I2C peripheral. So upon that 1000 nanoseconds upon that time period, that will come out to be approximately T rise 33. It is not 32, it will come out to be approximately 33, and I have configured that 33 via hexadecimal as 0x21. Okay, so these are the like main three things that we have to understand, and we have to configure our I2C clock control registers. If you have any doubt, mention them in the comment section, we'll surely get back to you. Okay, now coming to our next thing, program the I2C CR2 register to enable the peripheral. So we have correspondingly enabled the I2C CR1 register in I2C CR1 register. We have correspondingly just a second, yeah, we have correspondingly enabled the PE bit, which is the peripheral input enable bit. Okay, so as you can see in the I2C CR1 register, I have marked also in this data sheet what all bits and bits are important to us. So these are the important bits. PE will enable my peripheral and it will be used in initializing our master mode. Okay, so that's all that you have to do for configuring in master master initialization. And as soon as just after these things, we will start the start condition. We will send the start condition. So as you can see here also in master mode, setting the start bit causes the interface to generate a restart condition at the end of the current byte transmitter, or by setting in master mode, start bit generates our I2C session, starts our I2C session. So we will set the SB bit is set by hardware as soon as we start our start condition is generated, and the start bit is generated via the I2C CR1 8th bit, which is our start bit. Okay, so start generation in master mode, repeated start generation. So just we have configured the start register bit in a start condition for write, and then we will be while looping the SB bit as it is told in this here, that SB bit is set by hardware when start condition is successfully transmitted, and then we will read the I2C CR1 register. This is for the write mode. If you want to write data on a via master mode, if you want to receive data in master mode, and then we have to do one more thing, that we have to enable the ACK bit, okay, acknowledge bit in our I2C session. So that we have to do, and all the things will be same, generating the start condition, then while looping the SB bit and reading the I2C CR1 register. Why I am reading the I2C CR1 register, that I will just tell you in a minute. And just important thing is that you remember that when receiving the data, we have to enable the acknowledge bit, because this will tell to our slave that okay, it has received the data and it is now ready for transmitting the data to the master. Okay, so that's the thing. In the 7-bit addressing mode, as soon as address byte is sent, okay, so now the start condition is generated. Now we will come to the address send mode. Okay, now because after start generation, what our I2C peripheral, our I2C communication session is in such a way that first start address read and write. Okay, there are again one or two things. First, we will write the I2C data register equals to the slave address that we need to send. Okay, now the thing is, okay, so the start address will be like by writing the data on the slave address into the data register. And one thing here important is that as soon as we have generated the start condition, our data byte transfer will be continued, like our I2C session will be started. So the BTF bit byte transfer finish build, this will tell us that whether our I2C session is started or not. So it will be set as soon as we will generate the start condition, and BTF will be cleared by reading the SR1 register and then reading or writing the data register. So that's why after the start condition I have read the SR1 register, and in the address send for writing or for reading, as we will read the data register, our BTF bit will be cleared. Okay, so now address send for writing, read the data register, and then we will we will wait for its full data transmission, the TXE bit. This is very important bit. Okay, data register empty, it will tell us that okay, now my data has been transmitted from shift register to the SDA line and it has been successfully done. So TXE bit is important when we will do any kind of transmission in the master mode. Okay, so this is the transfer data register empty bit. Then the ADR bit is very important. Again, it will tell us that whether the address byte is successfully sent or not, and it is very important to clear it after waiting for it inside the while loop. So in the both address send write and in the both address send read, we will wait for the ADDR bit to set. Okay, as soon as it gets set, we will clear it by reading the I2C SR1 registers like it is mentioned here. This bit is cleared by software reading SR1 register followed by reading SR2 register. So we will be clearing this address send ADDR bit by reading the SR1 register and SR2. So same way out, address send read will be is also same. Slave register, first configure writing the slave register to the data register and then waiting for the ADDR bit to set, and then we will wait and then we will clear the ADDR bit, and also we will here use the TXE bit as it is for the complete transfer byte is successfully done. Okay, now coming to the master transmitter again, if TXE is set and data byte was not written in, no, not this one, master waits until the first data byte in the is rewriting, and when the acknowledge pulse is received, TXE bit is set by hardware and an interrupt is generated if you have configured the interrupt pins by bits. So for data transmission, wait, where is my byte? Yeah, for data transmitter, it's a very simple function. We just after writing the address send, okay, clearing the ADDR bit, we will just write the data on the data register and then wait for it till it gets fully transmitted by the TXE bit. It's just simple as that, and then we will configure write the stop generation, and stop generation is done by the SCR1 stop bit. Okay, as I have you in the here, as I have shown you in the I2C CR1 register description, stop bit. Okay, so in our main loop you will see that I have done this thing only for writing a bit, start condition for write, then I2C send slave address for write, and then data byte sending temperature register, and then stop generation. Simple as that. This is whole our I2C write generation session. Okay, and for reading a byte also the things are also pretty much same also. For sending the bit, okay, let me just show you. Yeah, here for sending the bit we will use the start condition read, so it will enable for receiving the bit, okay, it will enable our acknowledge pulse, and it will generate the acknowledge to the slave so that it can get to know that okay, now master is want to receive data from the slave. Okay, and then we will write the address according to the read slave address. Okay, okay, and in one thing is that in read we will not use the TXE bit. Why? Because in this we are going to receive the data, we are not going to transmit data. Okay, after the successful transmission of our address byte, so we will not wait for the TXE bit here, we will just wait for the ADDR bit to get set, and then we will clear it. Now for receiving the data there are two things. Okay, yeah, for receiving the data, now there are some concepts. Now for receiving the mode there are three. Now for receiving there is a little complicated concept in our STM32 microcontrollers that I tell you from here. Okay, from they tell the things here very simply. Now in case we will need to receive a single byte, Okay, so first you will say in the ADDR event. The ADDR event is the one that when we are sending the address byte. So we have read the ADDR bit as one, means our address has been successfully transmitted for reading, for with reading bit. Okay, and then for single byte I am telling you, clear the ACK bit. ACK bit is cleared how? We have like in this here in the for receive. Okay, now like okay, first clear the ACK bit will be done. Clear the ADDR bit, and ADDR bit is cleared by reading the SR1 and SR2 registers. Now we will clear the ACK bit and program the stop or start bit. Now what we will do for receiving the 1 byte, we will enable the ACK bit, because we need to receive only 1 byte, so no acknowledge will be given to our slave. Then we will program the stop bit. Okay, so it will tell slave that okay, that after just receiving 1 byte our stop bit will be generated, so that our session can be completed. Okay, and then we will wait for the RX any flag. Wait for the RX any flag, as in the in the data receiver we wait for the TXE flag. Okay, now in the data receiving mode we will wait for the RXE flag. Okay, while and then we will read the I2C data register, and then we will return the data register to our host microcontroller. Okay, so that's how we will receive the single byte. And now that's what I have done over here also. I2C start condition, I2C address send, RTC with the read enable bit, and in this I have write the write ADDR with the write enable bit, and here we have read enable bit. Then I will just show you first for the reading single byte. Okay, so MSB equals to data byte underscore receive NAC. This is for receiving single byte, 1 byte. Okay, and then stop generation is generated, and then delay 100 seconds. So now let's just program this into our microcontroller. First I will just show you for the single bit. Okay, I know this video is quite lengthy, it will be reaching up to 20 minutes, but okay, because this topic is in a continuation only. Okay, now we are programmed into a microcontroller. Now in the logic analyzer we will see that how our bits are being generated. Like you can see here, setup write to, and then we are reading single byte. So like you can see here now. Okay, let me just change it to hexadecimal for your better understanding. So this is our whole I2C session which we have got. We have first generated the start signal is green, then write the data which is D0, which is this one. Okay, RTC DDR. Okay, its hexadecimal is D0. Okay, and then this one is our and then we have write the data on it, and write the data of a temperature register, that is this one, and this is 0x11. so that's what it is shown here with acknowledge bit received, because we have sending the data. First is master is sending the data for writing the data, so receive the acknowledge from the slave, and then we have write the again start the session, I2C session here. That's why here first stop generation red, and start generation green, and then we have start the I2C session again with reading bit enabled. That's why either it is written read D1 plus acknowledge bit received from the slave, and then we have received the data of 0x23 with the NAC, means okay, only 1 byte has to be received. Now if we need to receive more than 1 byte, okay, then what we have to do? What we will do here it is also written in case of 2 bytes to be received. What we will do, we will configure the pause bit and the ACK bit, acknowledge bit. So ACK bit is being set here, like it is written a set ACK bit. So I have set the ACK bit, that's why I have set it this bit ACK bit in our I2C start condition read. Okay, because at first we have to enable the acknowledge bit for receiving for acknowledging the slave. So I have acknowledged the ACK bit here, and then set the pause bit, and then I have for reading the 2 bytes, okay, I have set the pause bit. Then wait for the ADDR flag to be set. This is this one, the send write data the slave address transmission. So wait for the ADDR byte to be wait, clear it by reading the SR1 register and SR2 register, and then we will clear ADDR, clear acknowledge bit. So that's what I have done here now. Clear the acknowledge bit and clear the ADDR bit previously also I have done, and then wait for the BTF flag to be set, and then program stop, and then read the data register twice. that's what exactly. Wait for the BTF flag to be set, program the stop generation, and then we have read the data register twice times. So if we will see here, we will just uncomment this and then we will use this one. And now if I program this thing into our microcontroller, and now we will just see in a logic analyzer. If you will see now, so you will see here now it is getting 2 bytes as receiving. First we have write the data D0, receive the transmitted data is 0x11, which is our temperature register for RTC3231, and then set up read at D1 register, like at the same temperature register only, with the read enable bit plus acknowledge received. Then we want to receive the 2 bytes, so first 0x23 byte received plus acknowledge, then 0x40 second byte received plus not acknowledged, means our data session is completed, as you can see here now. And then we have generated the stop condition, with this shown by the red sign. Okay, so that's how the I2C session goes, device driver goes on. These are all the registers that we will be functions that these are just a very basic and prototyping one. In the upcoming videos, in my upcoming time, I will write the whole proper modular I2C device driver also, that I will upload on my GitHub and update over there. You can check it out from here. But I hope from this you can get an idea that how we need to develop our I2C device driver for STM32 microcontrollers, and what are the basic concepts and things over there. Now if I just tell you that here the module which I use is the RTC3231. Okay, just for my demo and for my showing you this both read and write operations, even though RTC is not with STM32 microcontrollers, because RTC peripheral is already inbuilt in STM32 microcontrollers. But just for this video, RTC3231, which is the I2C peripheral module, its address is slave write and slave read are these addresses, and these are its temperature, status, and all of different registers. So the temperature register gives us the temperature which is on board on our RTC3231 module. So this I have sent the temperature register, and then I am reading the both MSB and LSB for temperature. Okay, so that's all I have to tell you for this I2C peripheral device driver development in our STM32 microcontrollers. This is very basic one. For any video, any doubts or anything, you can definitely contact me by our Get to Byte WhatsApp group or via Instagram channel, or mentioning the doubts in below comment section. So see you in the next video. In the next video, I will be telling you on how to interface this LCD I2C screen with our I2C peripheral by using these device drivers only, and modifying in some using the mid or high-end functions of these I2C functions. Okay, so that's it for now. Subscribe the channel, stay safe, stay happy, and for any queries, do mention them in our comment section.